What is your relationship to water? It's kind of a weird question, right? Well, it's one I think about all day, every day, because I work in water. I work for a company uniquely positioned to address the water crisis on a global scale. So I spend all of my time thinking about how every person around the world can change their lives by simply changing their relationship to water. So it's actually pretty ironic that recently I discovered that my relationship to water has been broken. My relationship to water doesn't actually start with me. It starts with my mom. When my mom was pregnant with me, she had a really tough pregnancy. And so they gave her a lot of medication just to keep her pregnant. And shortly after I was born, we learned that those medications triggered young onset Parkinson's disease. So ever since I was a kid, my mom and I have partnered together on her health. We've worked together to make sure she got to her doctor's appointments. We worked on her daily errands together, made sure she got to physical therapy, ate the right foods, and we even made sure that she was wearing the right shoes for her balance. It was pretty tough when I went to college to let go of this part of me, the part of me that had always taken care of my mom. But she's doing great. And I had a wonderful college experience, and shortly after I graduated, I landed my dream job. I started working for a company called Zero Mass Water, whose technology, source hydro panels, uses sunlight and air to make water. It's completely independent of infrastructure. The water is high quality because it's never exposed to the contaminants in the ground or in our pipes. And because it's off-grid, people all over the world can use this technology to make water for their communities. I spent my first year working for the company studying the water crisis, looking at the impact of it and thinking through different ways we could address it. I learned some pretty scary things, actually. I learned that every 90 seconds, a child dies from a waterborne illness. I learned that half of all hospital beds are filled with somebody sick from a waterborne illness. 90% of our bottled water brands contain microplastics. And in the US, 21 million people are exposed to contaminants in their drinking water each year. And around the world, 2.1 billion people don't have any access to water at all. The scariest number, 60%. Because in just about 10 years from now, the world will only have 60% of the water we demand. This is a catastrophe. And this is one that we must all work together to fight. But about a year into working for the company, I got a call from my dad, one that brought the issue of water much closer to home. Instead of being a big global crisis that I was working to solve, instead it was something that was immediate and happening to somebody I loved. You see, in the summer of 2017, my parents received a water quality notice from the town they live in, the town of Gilbert. The town's filters for TTHMs, or total trihalomethanes, had temporarily malfunctioned. The town took the responsible move and sent out a water quality notice to every resident, explaining the situation and assuring that residents would be fine. That most people drinking water and this contaminant in such a low dose wouldn't experience any side effects, their health would be unharmed. But who are most people? My mom's not most people. If you're very old or you're very young, you're not most people. If you have an illness, a compromised immune system, you're pregnant or you're nursing, you're not most people. There are a lot of people in our communities that have a particular vulnerability to any contamination in the water supply. So I put my caretaker hat back on, and I made sure that my mom and my dad got source hydro panels. And now I know the water they drink is good for them. There's no contaminants from the infrastructure that may be harming my mother's health. And I know that the water my mom drinks is protecting her brain. Around the same time, I started having my own health issues. As caretakers, we don't like to think about our own health. It's not a priority for us. But ever since my adolescence, I've experienced pretty debilitating menstrual cramps. But I had my coping mechanisms. I could get the very sharp pain to just a steady, dull pain. I could work my life around it. Until I entered the workforce, you see, because my job, the job I love, that is so exciting and fast-paced, was too much for my health. I remember days where I needed to get up and talk to somebody across the office, but I couldn't because I wasn't sure I could walk across our lobby without collapsing in pain. I remember at the end of an exhausting week thinking to myself, how much longer can I do this? Can I keep this job? Can I keep any job? So I caved and I went to a doctor, and another doctor, and another doctor. And finally, I found a doctor who was willing to partner with my acupuncturist to not just treat my pain, but to really get to the core issue behind it. The lesson I learned from my mom. We discovered that I have hypothyroidism, an underperforming thyroid. We learned that the symptoms of that include dry skin, dry hair, irritability, memory loss, weight gain, difficulty losing weight, abnormal menstrual cycles. All the symptoms made sense. And so I changed my life. I changed my diet, I changed my exercise routine. I take so many supplements every single day. But I feel good. I started to experience days with no pain for the first time for as long as I can remember, an entire day with no pain. But the days with no pain just made me even more motivated to completely eliminate my pain. So we dug a little deeper. I learned that the thyroid needs iodine to function. And at a molecular level, iodine looks a lot like chlorine. And so when your thyroid is exposed to chlorine, it absorbs the chlorine instead of the iodine, and then it doesn't function. This moment hit me very hard. This was the moment where I was not only thinking about a loved one's water crisis or the global water crisis. No, this time, water was my crisis. This time, my relationship to water was broken. You see, I spent my entire life exposed to chlorinated water. As a kid, I swam every summer in my parents' pool in chlorinated water. As a competitive swimmer in high school, I swam year-round in chlorinated water. And as a Phoenix resident, the water that comes out of my taps that I drink, I bathe in, I wash my hands in, is heavily chlorinated. So again, we took action. We moved so that we could control our water. We put filters on every faucet and on every shower head. And on World Water Day, our hydro panels were installed. Now the water we drink is made from sunlight and air. There's no chlorine in it. There's no contaminants in it. The water I drink is good for me, and I feel good all the time. I know life without pain, all because I changed my relationship to water. This transformation has allowed me to focus on the issues I care about. But this is my relationship to water and my journey. If there's one thing I've learned in my time working in water, it's that we all have a deeply personal relationship to water. The ways you get water, the trade-offs you make for your water, and the consequences those trade-offs have in your life are deeply personal to you. But take a moment. Imagine that every single person on this planet had a perfect relationship to water. This beautiful vision can become a reality. But if we're going to protect the world's water resources, If we're going to prevent the global shortfall that is coming in just 10 years, then protecting the world's water means we must perfect our individual relationships to water. Thank you.